He walked away with a broken heart the night he realized kindness does not always lead where you hope it will. The evening began quietly. Rafiq Halim had just finished closing the small neighborhood bookstore where he worked evenings after his day job. His daughter Liana waited on a stool behind the counter coloring the same flower for the fifth time, tongue caught between her teeth in fierce concentration. Being a single dad meant learning how to read silence the way others read noise, and tonight the silence felt gentle. Safe. Outside, rain slid down the street in thin silver lines. That was when Rafiq saw her. She stood across from the shop, soaked, confused, holding a phone that clearly was not helping her. She looked out of place, like someone who had stepped into the wrong chapter of a book and did not know how to turn the page. Against his better judgment, Rafiq locked the door, took his jacket, and stepped into the rain. He asked if she was lost. She laughed softly, a tired sound, and said yes. Her name was Samara. She said she was waiting for someone who never came. Her voice held no anger, only a hollow acceptance that unsettled him. Rafiq offered her a towel from the shop and a cup of tea while she dried off. Liana peeked around the corner and smiled at the stranger with the open curiosity only children possess. Samara's eyes softened at the sight of her. That was the moment Rafiq felt something shift. They talked until the rain thinned. Samara shared pieces of her life carefully, like glass fragments she did not want to cut either of them with. She said she worked in interior design. She said she had no children. She did not say who she was waiting for. Rafiq did not ask. He told her about Liana, about how her mother had left when Liana was 3, about the quiet strength it took to build a life from absence. When Samara left that night, she hugged him. It was brief, polite, but it lingered in his chest long after she disappeared down the street. They met again. And again. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks and shared laughter. Samara fit into Rafiq's life with surprising ease. She read to Liana. She remembered the names of his co-workers. She looked at him like he was more than a tired man carrying responsibility on his back. For the first time in years, Rafiq allowed himself to imagine a future that did not feel lonely. But there were cracks. Samara never stayed the night. She answered certain calls by stepping outside. When Rafiq asked gently, she smiled and said some things were complicated. He accepted that answer because he wanted to believe in patience. The truth arrived uninvited on a Sunday afternoon. Rafiq had taken Liana to the park. Samara said she would meet them there. When she arrived, she was not alone. A woman walked beside her, confident, polished, familiar in a way that tightened Rafiq's chest. Samara froze when she saw him. The woman smiled first. She introduced herself as Mira. Her hand rested on Samara's arm with a claim that did not ask permission. Mira spoke easily, warmly. She asked about Liana. She commented on the weather. She thanked Rafiq for being kind to Samara. The word kind landed like a quiet insult. When Rafiq asked who she was, Samara inhaled sharply, then exhaled the truth. Mira was married. To someone else. Samara was her mistress. Not a secret fling. Not a passing mistake. Years. Holidays. Promises whispered in shadows. Samara looked at Mira and said, with heartbreaking certainty, "She's my real family." The park did not go silent. Children still laughed. Birds still argued in trees. But Rafiq felt as if something essential had collapsed inside him. Samara tried to explain. She said she never meant to hurt him. She said she did not plan to fall for him. She said Rafiq had shown her a gentler world, but Mira was where her life was rooted. Where she belonged. Rafiq listened. He nodded. He kept his voice steady for Liana's sake. Then he walked away. He did not shout. He did not plead. He did not demand an apology. He took his daughter's hand and left the park, each step heavier than the last. That night, after Liana slept, Rafiq sat alone in the dark. He replayed every moment, every smile, every almost truth. He realized Samara had never lied outright. She had simply loved in fragments, and he had filled in the blot. Weeks passed. Samara texted, then called, then stopped. Rafik healed slowly, not because the pain faded quickly, but because Liana needed breakfast and school lunches and bedtime stories. Life demanded presence, even when the heart wanted to disappear. One evening, months later, Rafik received a letter. Handwritten. Samara apologized without excuses. She wrote that Mira had chosen her marriage in the end. She wrote that losing Rafik taught her what honesty should have looked like from the beginning. She wrote that she hoped one day he would meet someone who chose him openly, without shadows. Rafik folded the letter and placed it in a drawer. He did not hate Samara. He did not wish her harm. He simply understood now that kindness is not a contract, and love is not always returned in the shape you need. 1 year later, Rafik watched Liana perform in her school play. As she bowed, he felt something quiet and whole settle in his chest. His heart had broken. But it had not emptied. And that made all the difference.